This story by Magnanimous Lion. Am I the a-hole for trying to get my girlfriend's son to push himself and leave his comfort zone? I live with my girlfriend, Rachel, and her 11-year-old son, Jeffrey. I have been working remotely, so I've been spending a lot of time at home. Jeff is a nice kid, but he's odd. I suspect that he has Asperger's syndrome, which absolutely is nothing to be ashamed of, and I have told his mother many times, privately, to take him to a doctor. This has been the source of many arguments. Jeff's symptoms are as follows. 1. He is incapable of following basic directions. 2. He is incapable of processing basic information in school books and movies, and, as such, asks annoying questions constantly. I don't think not understanding movies you like to watch in the lounge room counts as a mental disability symptom. 3. He is incapable of properly playing or even watching sports, and doesn't understand the rules. This, and the previous two, lead me to believe he has cognitive problems. 4. He just sits in front of his computer all day. I'm already picking up signs of, this person doesn't like what I like, so they're weird. But let's just see how it goes. 5. He is a very picky eater. Combined with his lack of athleticism, I strongly believe that this is causing him to not physically develop into puberty. 6. He has one friend, and it seems to be an arrangement between Rachel and the other kid's mom. We live near a track, so I thought it would be fun to start running with Jeff. Keep in mind that his mom was very enthusiastic about this. He was very resistant to it, so I told him that we would order the new PlayStation if he is willing to do this twice a week. After less than a lap, he started walking, and I tried, nicely, to get him to keep going. Eventually, I told him that he could take a break and walk, but that if he was able to run the last lap, I would take him for pizza. Sadly, he was incapable of doing this, so we didn't go for pizza. On the way home, he was sulking, and I stressed the importance of perseverance and the need to push yourself. I told him my family motto, always act like you're having a good time, especially when you're not. The rest will take care of itself. He reacted very snidely to this and basically said, I don't care about you and your stupid motto. So I said, you know what? The deal is off. No more runs, and I'm not ordering the PlayStation. Rachel was not happy about how our outing went, and she blamed me, and said I was impatient and that I was a jerk. I told her that I tried to give him advice, and he was rude to me. I feel like I may have been a little harsh, and that I should just order the PlayStation anyway, partially because I want to play the Elden Ring when it comes out. Am I the a-hole? Sorry, but although I believe you have good intentions, Yata, it was pretty unreasonable to expect he was going to be able to run a full lap off the bat from nothing. I'm guessing with the symptoms he has, he probably feels like he fails at a lot of things, and your unreasonable expectations and his failure have made him feel terrible again, hence the snark. Also, if he is neurodivergent, it's very common to have comorbid coordination problems, as well as other learning difficulties such as dyslexia. I have ADHD and coordination difficulties. I have never been able to run, no matter how much I was pushed. Think Phoebe from Friends. My limbs just don't comply. But put me in a pool and I can swim for days. In fact, used to do it competitively. It might be ultimately running is not a great choice for him either. But all else aside, please ask his mum to push for him being assessed. It's so important for so many reasons. My mum held off on my diagnosis as a kid, despite major suspicions and suggestions from others, and I was diagnosed late in life. It tore havoc in so many areas of my life. My self-esteem was trounced, I massively underachieved, and I spent years thinking I was just terrible at life. Thankfully, OP isn't as stubborn as he comes across in the post. Well, thank you so much for the informative reply. I'll definitely keep all of this in mind, especially the part about trying a greater variety of activities that he will be physically comfortable with. I certainly don't want to be a jerk or make him feel bad, because, well, I don't really see it as a disability, rather he's just different. I will 100% keep pushing him to be active, and I will also slowly push for him to be sent to a doctor. I'll have to do more research into mental disorders so I can convince his mother to have him assessed. I do have to agree it's a Yata in this situation. You had good intentions but terrible execution. I think the main thing we forget when it comes to being encouraged to exercise is that it should be fun. above anything else. Heck, I know there are some social groups in my town that do like monthly Tiggy tournaments in their local park area, purely for adults. I think as we get older, we seem to forget that getting good exercise doesn't always have to be in front of some gym mirror holding the same weight for 30 minutes. You should play games, run around with your dog in the backyard, chase some random kids down the street. You know, fun stuff. This story by Dread Pirate. Am I the a-hole for firing someone for falsely reporting my boss and friend for homophobia? Cast. As secretary, S. My boss and mentor, OB. OB has been a mentor to me at work and has recently been instrumental in getting me a huge promotion. Worth noting, since I came out at work and my relationship with a colleague became public knowledge, he's been a really supportive friend to me and my boyfriend, the occasional inappropriate gay joke aside. However, now that shooting, golfing, and restaurants have opened again, he has been very nearly impossible to get hold of for work stuff. I caught a glimpse of OB late last week, marching through the office, and chased after him as I needed his signature on a document I've been waiting to sign off for weeks. I called out to him twice using his first name and got no response. I then finally resorted to calling out to him by the initials of his surname, OB, which is the nickname his friends use for him. In my haste to catch OB, I was louder and more forceful than planned, and my call to get his attention sounded more like a shouted summons. OB turns, obviously startled, and steams over to me saying, "What am I for you now?" By he means the system in boarding schools whereby younger boys were forced to play the role of servants for older boys. I made a joke about him cleaning my rugby boots and doing my homework before I'm back from nets, got him to sign off on my paperwork, and invited him and his wife to lunch on Sunday, which he accepted. An hour later, I get a summons from HR dragging me into a meeting to discuss the possible homophobic abuse I had suffered at the hands of OB. This is a sensitive issue, as last year there was a similar complaint against OB because a member of staff, S, had overheard him using the word and failed to understand the meaning or derivation. It was a short meeting. That should have been the end of it. However, during the drive home, my boyfriend asked me about the incident. This was troubling. Firstly, he works in a completely different office and was not present for the conversation, and secondly, as a HR matter, it should have been confidential. Turns out the Secretary S was the one who had taken the issue to HR and had been very vocal to half the office about OP being a homophobe, and that today's incident, in her mind at least, vindicated her previous accusation of racism. My boyfriend was clear about me not being able to address this issue through HR, as I'd have to explain where I got this information, and he doesn't want to alienate his colleagues by having them think that our relationship aligns him more with management than staff. S has a quarterly performance review in a couple of weeks, and as she has not been with the company for 2 years, I've reached out to her direct manager and arranged to have her employment terminated on that day with immediate effect. My boyfriend thinks it is an a-hole move to fire her without warning for what he says equates to not much more than being a gossip. Wowee, I feel like it's not the a-hole, but also rather petty revenge. I guess that makes me lean more towards everyone sucks here. There's a lot of factors to take in with this story that I'm sure a lot of comments are going to highlight for me anyway. Nata, this is more than just gossip. S is overhearing a conversation she is not part of and venting her misconceived opinion around the office, not just taking it to HR. She is creating disharmony and fostering an environment of a lack of trust in the office. The clincher is that this is not the first time she has done it, and both times it has been through a lack of education about the usage of words. She is a liability. Feel no guilt. You're the a-hole. I understand where you were coming from, but she thought she heard homophobia and didn't hesitate to call it out. Next time someone is homophobic in your workplace, people are going to second-guess calling it out for fear of losing their jobs. She shouldn't have gossiped, sure, but a reprimand rather than firing would have been more appropriate. You're the a-hole. She was genuinely repeating what she heard. I get that it may not have been homophobia, but HR should have been able to address that. She was standing up for you, and OB was being an idiot. See, that's the thing. Yes, these words were used appropriately in the right context, but words do change their dominant meaning over time. And so it shouldn't be surprising that using words in their more historical context is going to get mistranslated by some people. I definitely think OB hasn't thought through this wording, regardless of the lack of malicious intent. Although the term did have innocent context here, it was the source of a private in-joke and thus not readily available to everyone in earshot. Exactly, and I guess that's where this really falls down to. The secretary should have at least checked in on OP first, confirm if what was said was considered appropriate to them or as an actual insult, especially if she's misheard or mistranslated what was said in the past. But regardless, I still don't think she should be punished for trying to call out homophobia in the workplace. Regardless if it was a false alarm in the end. Still definitely unprofessional and very disrespectful of her to spread around like a rumor without the full proof that it was definitely the case. I think that behavior in a workplace definitely should never be tolerated. Your workplace is a workplace, not your freaking high school. I'm gonna go everyone sucks here in this scenario, but what do you think? She does mention that OB is around his 50s, so it's definitely his sort of timeline where he would be saying these words a bit more commonly, at least in his generation. Do you think he's completely innocent, stupidly ignorant, or an a-hole too lazy to adapt his vocabulary?
Boo! Hello, just noticing you're quite a bit into the video. If you're this far, that means you're enjoying yourself, or you've just forgotten to click off. Don't click off! If you could perhaps like this video or subscribe, that would be mwah. And I will mwah your face if I ever see you. That is not legally binding. Anyway, as you were.
This story by throwaway. Am I the a-hole for not letting my siblings do fun things with my father's girlfriend? I'm an 18-year-old female, and I have struggled my entire life with my mental health. I'm now recovered for the most part, but I still have lingering anxiety and social phobia I'm trying to work on. I am the second of 4 siblings, all female. After being married for almost 15 years, my father, suddenly, he found himself single, and he got really depressed. He goes on a few dates, and then he meets his now girlfriend, we'll call M. M has 2 sons. Especially in the beginning, my father was at M's place all the time. I felt like he was trading us in for them, who were everything that we were not. So, as you might expect, feeling this way, I wasn't exactly jumping at the opportunity to get to know them. But my siblings on multiple occasions have spent time with her then, and then they broke up. Now, one other relationship later, and they're back together, for real this time. So I have to find a way to get along with her, but it's hard. After everything that's happened, I still don't know her at all. But it seems like everyone else is now long past that step. It takes me longer than most to get comfortable with someone, but now I'm 10 steps behind as well. Every once in a while they invite us to do something, and I usually refuse because it makes me anxious, but that kinda causes me to get left behind. I've told my father that I'd like to slowly build towards being more comfortable with them to close the gap, and in order to do that, I'd like to try and spend more one-on-one time with her, with as little stresses as possible, so preferably no family activities for a bit. He and M agreed that was a good idea, and we planned a date to go over to her place. The week before then we went on a trip. Suddenly M asks if we'd like to go kitesurfing. So I point out that I thought we weren't going to do these things, at least for now. And I thought that was the end of it, but then I find out they plan to do it anyway. But on the one day, I had to travel back for an exam, so I wouldn't be there. I was hurt, and I felt like I wasn't heard at all. I tried to explain again that I don't want them to keep doing stuff with everyone but me, because I'll just fall behind further. The week after that, we went to her place. I didn't expect much, but definitely not to be berated with questions to the point of tears. She attacked my social skills for not being able to get along with her. She asked me if I don't care about the fact that my father is sad and that he doesn't have all 4 of his daughters with him whenever I don't want to come. And she asked how I could take away and experience my siblings just because I don't want to do it. Whenever I ask anyone about what to do, they just tell me, you can always just say yes. Am I just being difficult and keeping everyone back by wanting to take it slow? A lot of people seem to think so. Am I the a-hole? Nata, everyone has their own struggles and should be given the opportunity to deal with them. Your father's girlfriend sounds pretty insensitive and ignorant to your struggles, but that doesn't give her the right to belittle and berate you. Everyone sucks here. If you don't want to go, then don't go, but you can't expect your siblings to not go either. Unless they can't stand her either. She should not have went off on you like that. Your father is the one who started dating another person and basically abandoned his actual children of the time. He was always over there with her. He's the one you should be upset with. You need to try explaining it to her, but she can't force you to like her just because that's what she wants. I wouldn't want to be left out either. They knew you had to go back for an exam and decided to go and do something without you. That would make me upset. Do your siblings actually like her? You're the a-hole. I really don't understand this mentality at all. You sound very selfish. You want everyone to stop seeing each other so you don't feel left out, even though you are the one who won't go on the family outings. Why can't you keep going on your dates until you're just able to join them? I don't see why everyone else should have to suffer. It's also not like you've just said for a couple of weeks or anything either. Is this supposed to just last an indefinite amount of time until you decide everyone can start doing stuff again? Agreed. Doesn't make any sense. The rest of your family put in the time to get to know your father's girlfriend early on. Now they're reaping the rewards. You can't get mad at them for your mistakes, but what you can do is learn from them. Things will not get better unless you make the effort. Honestly, I think them being confronted with the fact that they may be the a-hole is just gonna make their anxiety even worse. But also, the sooner OP accepts that, the sooner they can work on fixing this for the better. Look, you're valid to be feeling alone and left behind with the family dynamic. But they didn't do this to you. They don't have the power to fix that. You do, because you did that to yourself. But I also don't think you should be putting yourself down as some idiot for doing this. You're battling anxiety among other things, and created a snowball effect of loneliness due to your father being so absent as he started dating Em. What I think is making you hesitant to join these family gatherings is your overthinking of the situation. They're your family. They know you enough already. I'm sure they know about your anxiety. It sounds like all they want, the very least, is just you to be there. And if that has to start out with you simply just sitting at the dinner table being quiet and listening to all their conversations, then good. At least you're there. Of course, this is just talk. I have never dealt with this sort of anxiety myself before, and I'm sure what I say is easier said than done.
That does us for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're looking at my face right now, that means you liked this video. So all I appreciate is if you would like the video back. Because if you like it, then I'll like you for liking the video, and then I can make more stuff for you to like that you can like, and it'll be just a constant cycle of never-ending pain and suffering. So don't do it alone. Suffer with me. I don't know where I was going with that. If you haven't subscribed but you want to see some more content, then please, what are you waiting for? Click that notification bell so you're always updated on the latest content. And hey, why not check out some other videos while you're here? But anyway, that does me for today. Thank you again for watching. You're an amazing person. I love rambling at you, and I look forward to you staring at me beyond the abyss again soon. I can't close well. Don't at me, okay? My name's Jack. Bye-bye. You're amazing. See ya.